My name is James Crawford. I'm 73 years old, and I need to tell you something that will sound obvious when you hear it, but that almost nobody actually lives by. Something so simple it feels stupid to say out loud, and so profound that ignoring it will cost you everything. You are going to die. Not eventually, not theoretically, not in the abstract philosophical way that people nod at during funeral sermons and then immediately forget over lunch. You, specifically you, the person reading these words right now, are going to stop breathing one day. Your heart is going to pump its last beat. Your brain is going to fire its final electrical signal. And that will be it. The lights go out. The show ends. No encore, no extension, no sequel. I'm not saying this to frighten you. I'm saying this because it's the single most important fact of your existence, and you are almost certainly not living as though it's true. I wasn't, for decades. I lived as though time were infinite, as though tomorrow were guaranteed, as though the important things could always wait, because there would always be another chance, another year, another season to get around to what actually mattered. There won't be. There never was. And every day I spent pretending otherwise was a day I essentially threw into a fire and watched burn, while telling myself the warmth felt productive. I'm 73 now. I've lost friends. I've lost family. I've sat in hospital rooms and watched people I loved take their last breaths. And not one of them, not a single one, used those final moments to talk about their stock portfolio, their job title, their square footage, or the car sitting in their driveway. They talked about people. They talked about moments. They talked about the Tuesday afternoon when nothing special happened except that everyone they loved was in the same room, and someone laughed so hard they knocked over a glass of water and nobody cared. That's what mattered at the end. The ordinary, unremarkable, easily overlooked moments that we spend our entire lives rushing past on our way to something we think is more important. It's not more important. Nothing is more important. And I need you to understand that before you learn it the way I did. Slowly, painfully, and with far too many years already behind me. I want you to think of your life as a train ride. You boarded this train the day you were born. You didn't choose the train. You didn't pick the route. You didn't buy a ticket. You just woke up one day and you were on it, moving forward, the landscape sliding past the windows at a speed you couldn't control. Here's what most people do on this train. They spend the first 20 years looking out the window with wide eyes, fascinated by everything, noticing every tree, every cloud, every passing town. Children are brilliant at this. They stare at the world like it's performing magic tricks just for them, because from their perspective, it is. Then somewhere around their 20s or 30s, people stop looking out the window. They pull out their laptops, their spreadsheets, their 5-year plans and 10-year goals. They start working on the train instead of riding it. They start treating the journey like a task to be optimized rather than an experience to be had. They check their phones. They compare their seat to everyone else's seat. They worry about whether they're in the right car, whether the dining car has better options, whether first class would make the ride more comfortable. They argue about legroom. They stress about luggage. They do everything except the one thing the train exists for, looking out the window. And then one day, always sooner than they expected, the conductor comes through and says, "Last stop." And they look up, startled, and realize they never saw the view. The entire journey happened while they were staring at a screen, or a spreadsheet, or the back of their own eyelids. And now it's over, and they can't rewind it, and they can't buy another ticket. That's not a metaphor. That's a literal description of how most human beings experience their lives. They ride the whole train without ever really looking out the window. And the tragedy isn't that the train stops. Everything stops eventually. The tragedy is that the window was right there the entire time. Let me tell you what I chased for most of my life, because it's probably what you're chasing too. I chased money. Not because I loved money. I didn't. Not really. I chased it because I believed, without ever examining the belief, that enough money would buy me security. That security would buy me peace. And that peace would buy me the ability to finally relax and enjoy the life I was too busy building to actually live. That chain of logic sounds reasonable. It's not. It's a trap. Because the amount of money that feels like enough keeps changing. It's a finish line that moves every time you approach it. 100,000 feels like enough until you have it. Then 200 feels like enough. Then 500. Then 1,000,000. The number inflates with your lifestyle, your expectations, your awareness of what other people have. You're running a race where the track gets longer with every step you take. I chased career advancement, titles, promotions, corner offices, the respect of people whose respect I thought I needed. Every rung of the ladder was supposed to be the one where I could finally stop climbing and enjoy the view. But every rung just revealed another rung above it, and the climbing itself became the point without my ever noticing. I chased possessions, a bigger house, a better car, furniture that impressed guests, a yard that looked like it belonged in a magazine, things that required maintenance, insurance, worry, and time, always more time than I expected, and that delivered approximately 48 hours of satisfaction before becoming invisible, before becoming just another backdrop to a life I wasn't paying attention to. I chased all of it, and I caught most of it. That's the part they don't tell you. You can win the race. You can accumulate everything on your list. You can stand in the living room of the house you dreamed about and drive the car you fantasized about and hold the title you sacrificed years for and feel nothing, because none of it was what you actually wanted. What you actually wanted was the feeling you believed those things would provide, and that feeling, peace, contentment, the deep calm of knowing you are enough, cannot be purchased, earned, or accumulated. It can only be experienced in the present moment, which is the one place you refuse to look because you were too busy scanning the horizon. There's a reason we chase these things, even when some part of us knows they're empty. The reason has a name. It's called ego. Your ego is the part of you that needs to be seen, recognized, validated, and ranked. It's the part that cares about what other people think, the part that measures your worth by comparing your life to other people's lives, the part that would rather look successful than feel content, because looking successful earns applause, and feeling content earns nothing visible. Your ego is terrified of two things: being judged and being ordinary. It will do anything, sacrifice your health, your relationships, your peace of mind, your actual happiness, to avoid both. I let my ego run my life for 50 years. It made every major decision: where to work, what to buy, who to impress, how to spend my time. My ego chose my career path. My ego chose my car. My ego chose which dinner invitations to accept and which to decline based on who would be there and whether being seen with them would enhance my image. My ego sat in the driver's seat while the actual me, the real, specific, imperfect, ordinary James Crawford, who just wanted to drink coffee with his wife and take walks and read books and watch his grandchildren grow up, sat in the back seat with his mouth shut for decades. Killing your ego doesn't mean becoming passive or ambitionless. It doesn't mean stopping caring about your work or abandoning your goals. It means recognizing the difference between doing something because it genuinely matters to you and doing something because you need other people to see you doing it. It means asking yourself, honestly, before every decision, am I doing this because I want to or because I want to be seen wanting to? Am I pursuing this because it aligns with who I actually am or because it aligns with who I want people to think I am? Those are different questions, and the gap between their answers is where most of your wasted years are hiding. When I finally let my ego die, not all at once, but gradually, reluctantly, like releasing a grip I'd held so long, my fingers had cramped around it. Something remarkable happened. The fear went away. Not all of it, but most of it. The constant low-grade terror of being judged, being found wanting, being revealed as ordinary. It loosened. It released. And in its place came something I hadn't felt in decades: freedom. The plain, quiet, unimpressive freedom of not caring whether anyone was watching, of doing things because I wanted to do them, of being still because being still felt good, not because I'd earned the right to rest through sufficient visible achievement. That freedom is available to everyone. It costs nothing. It requires no promotion, no salary increase, no lifestyle upgrade. It just requires you to put down the thing you've been carrying, the desperate, exhausting need to matter in other people's eyes, and discover that you already matter. You always did. You just couldn't feel it because your hands were too full of things that didn't. There's a practice I learned late in life. Too late, probably, but not too late to share. It comes from a philosophical tradition called Stoicism, though I suspect people have been doing some version of it long before anyone gave it a name. The practice is this: approach ordinary moments as though they might be happening for the last time, not in a morbid way, not with dread or sadness or the heavy weight of anticipatory grief, but with attention, real, focused, deliberate attention. The next time you sit down to dinner with your family, consider the possibility that this might be the last time everyone is at this table together, not because something terrible is about to happen, but because life is unpredictable and tables don't stay full forever. Kids grow up and move away. Marriages end. People get sick. People die. The configuration of human beings sitting around your dinner table on any given Tuesday night is a specific, unrepeatable arrangement that will never exist in exactly this form again. Does that change how you experience the meal? Does it make you put down your phone? Does it make you look at the faces around you? Really look, not glance, but see them, with something closer to wonder than habit. It should, because it's true. Every dinner is potentially the last dinner in that exact configuration. Every conversation is potentially the last conversation. Every ordinary Tuesday is potentially the last ordinary Tuesday. I started practicing this about 10 years ago. It changed everything. Not the circumstances of my life. Those stayed largely the same. But my experience of those circumstances transformed completely. I noticed things I'd been walking past for years. The way light came through the kitchen window in the late afternoon. The sound Catherine made when she laughed at something on the radio. A specific, musical, completely unique sound that I'd been hearing for decades and had somehow stopped actually hearing. The weight of my grandson's hand when he held mine while we walked to the park. The specific pressure of each small finger. These aren't poetic observations. These are things that were always there, always happening, always available to be experienced, and that I had been ignoring because my attention was perpetually directed somewhere else, toward the future, toward the next achievement, toward the horizon where I was convinced something better was waiting. Nothing better was waiting. Everything best was already here. I just wasn't looking. Most people are asleep, not physically, functionally. They move through their days in a kind of automated trance. Wake up, commute, work, commute, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat, without ever fully arriving in any of those moments. They're present in body and absent in every other way that matters. I was asleep for most of my life, sleepwalking through decades, physically present at dinners and birthdays and holidays and bedtimes, but mentally elsewhere, always planning, always calculating, always running simulations of a future that hadn't happened yet, while the present, the only thing that was actually real, the only thing that actually existed, slipped past unnoticed. We numb ourselves to stay asleep. We use our phones, our televisions, our alcohol, our busyness, that relentless self-imposed busyness that keeps us moving fast enough to never have to sit with the discomfort of asking whether any of this is actually what we want. Waking up means stopping, not forever, just long enough to look around, to actually see where you are, to feel what you're feeling instead of managing it, to ask yourself with real honesty whether the life you're living is the life you would choose if you knew, not suspected, not feared, but knew that this was your last year. Because it might be, not probably, but possibly. And that possibility, that one in however many chance that this year is the last one, should change everything about how you spend it. It should make you pick up the phone and call the person you've been meaning to call. It should make you say the thing you've been holding back. It should make you book the trip, start the project, have the conversation, take the risk, forgive the grudge, admit the mistake, tell the truth. Not because life is short. That phrase has become so overused it's lost all meaning. But because life is specific. It's happening right now, in this specific form, with these specific people, in this specific configuration that will never repeat. And you are either awake for it or you're not. Everything in life is a transaction. I don't mean that cynically. I mean it factually. You have a limited amount of time, truly limited, countable in heartbeats if someone were keeping track. And you are exchanging portions of that time for things every single day. The question is whether the exchange is fair, whether the things you're getting back are worth the irreplaceable, non-renewable, once spent forever gone hours you're trading for them. I traded thousands of hours for a bigger office. Was it worth it? No. I traded weekends with my children for overtime pay. Was it worth it? Not even close. I traded evenings with Catherine for networking events with people whose names I can't remember. Was it worth it? The question answers itself. I made these trades believing I was investing, that the returns would come later in the form of security, comfort, and the freedom to finally enjoy the things I was sacrificing. But the returns never materialized in the way I expected. The security never felt secure enough. The comfort never felt comfortable enough. And the freedom I was working toward kept receding into the future, like a city on the horizon that gets smaller the faster you drive toward it. Meanwhile, the things I traded away, the hours, the moments, the specific, irreplaceable experiences with specific, irreplaceable people, were gone. Not deferred, not stored somewhere for later retrieval. Gone. Permanently, irrevocably gone. Be careful with your transactions. Count the cost before you pay it. And remember that the currency you're spending, your time, your attention, your presence, is the only currency that cannot be earned back once it's been spent. People worry about legacy, what they'll leave behind, how they'll be remembered, whether their life will have mattered after they're gone. I used to worry about it too, obsessively. I wanted to build something that would outlast me, a business, a reputation, a body of work that people would point to and say, James Crawford did that. Here's what I've learned about legacy at 73. It's simpler than we make it, and it has almost nothing to do with what we build, accumulate, or achieve. Your legacy is not your net worth. Your legacy is not your title. Your legacy is not the size of your house or the impressiveness of your resume or the number of awards on your shelf. Your legacy is how people felt when they were with you. That's it. That's the whole thing. Did they feel seen? Did they feel heard? Did they feel valued? Did they feel like they mattered to you? Not in theory, not in principle, but in the specific, tangible, daily practice of being treated as though their presence in your life was a gift rather than a given. My father has been dead for over 30 years. I don't remember his salary. I don't remember his job title after the second promotion. I don't remember the make or model of any car he drove. I remember him slipping me half a cup of coffee on cold mornings before school. I remember the sound of his voice when he said, "That's something, James." I remember the way he stood at the grill, arguing about rib seasoning with more passion than most people bring to anything in their entire lives. That's his legacy, not what he built, how he made me feel. And 30 years after his death, that feeling is still more vivid, more real, and more valuable than anything he could have put in a bank account. Your legacy is being written right now, today, in the way you treat the people around you, in the attention you give to the moments that are happening while you're busy planning for moments that haven't arrived yet. Make it a good one, not a big one, a good one. I want to come back to the train, because the train is still moving and you're still on it, and the window is still right there beside you. Look out the window. I mean that literally and figuratively. Look at what's here, not what's coming, not what you're moving toward, what's here, right now, in this specific, unrepeatable, never coming back moment. The person sitting next to you, the meal in front of you, the sound of rain or traffic or silence, or a child laughing in the next room. The fact that you woke up this morning with a working brain and a beating heart, and another day. One more day, not guaranteed, not owed to you, but given, to experience being alive. That's not small, that's everything. It's literally everything. and you're missing it because you're looking at your phone or your spreadsheet or the imaginary finish line you've convinced yourself will make everything better when you cross it. There is no finish line. There's no destination where everything clicks into place and you finally feel complete. There's just this moment, this breath, this view from this particular window on this particular stretch of track, and then the next one, and the next one, until the conductor comes through and says, "Last stop." I'm 73. I've wasted more time than I can calculate and appreciated less than I should have. I've chased things that didn't matter and ignored things that did. I've traded irreplaceable hours for forgettable achievements and let my ego make decisions that my heart would have made differently. But I'm awake now. Finally, belatedly, imperfectly awake. And being awake at 73 is better than being asleep at any age. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Put down whatever you're chasing long enough to look at what you already have. Not with a glance, with real attention. The kind of attention that notices the specific weight of your child's hand, the specific sound of your partner's laugh, the specific quality of light in your kitchen on an ordinary afternoon. Kill your ego long enough to stop performing and start being present. Stop curating your life for an audience and start experiencing it for yourself. Practice the last time. Not because you're dying, although you are, we all are, slowly and certainly, but because treating moments as precious is the only way to actually experience them as precious. Wake up, open your eyes, look out the window. The train is moving, the view is extraordinary, and you won't get another ride. That's all I've got for today.